Good evening. It's June 9th, 2022. Welcome back to BoomerRexTonight, your daily source for news and politics. I'm RisenLadyHeathen. Hey, asshole. What summaries our show from other Millennial news podcasts?
That we shout toxic things at kids on fucking Call of Duty.
that we do. We have a boomer, and not just any boomer. We have Mr. BoomerRex himself.
Yeah, good evening.
You two eat, sleep, and breathe politics, and I'm learning. That's three unique perspectives we share along with the facts from our literal round table. Tonight was the first January 6th committee hearing, and we will discuss that later. First, let's dig right into our headlines. Orphaned turtles and kids.
So, the Wetlands Institute, in cooperation with Stockton University and Stone Harbor Schools, has a little program. And so today, a bunch of kindergarten kids took a bunch of little turtles out and turned them loose into the natural waterways. What is special about these turtles is that they were orphans. And many of them were raised from eggs that were retrieved from the squished bodies of their mothers who were killed on roads in the neighborhood. So, excellent.
Yeah.
Way to goddamn go.
Hell yeah, the monkeys.
Yeah, I'd never thought of that. Anyway, I really liked that.
That's sad and adorable all at the same time. All right. How do you pronounce it?
Ryugu.
Ryugu?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Ryugu samples collected by Japan's
Hayabusa 2.
Hayabusa 2 probe hold more than 20 types of amino acids.
So this is one of those ultra-rich asteroids that we decided to go sample.
Yeah.
Right? So the Japanese sampled it in, no, it doesn't say when it was sampled, but they were returned to Earth in December of 2020. Right? So they've been analyzing them. They have now found 20 types of amino acids in the samples from the... So, again, that's further proof that the amino acids and their, conjoined, right, can be helped by either biological or non-biological processes. But there are non-biological processes that produce these. And then these go and crash into worlds and so forth. And if there's ever anything that wants to have amino acids, they're already there, and they can scarf them up. So, anyway, I just thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no. That supports what we were talking about the other day with the theory of life on Earth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking cool. All right, Putin compares his actions to Peter the Great's conquest.
Oh, for the love of God. Hey, Pooty boy, you are the tin pot dictator of a place that is now officially called Shitholistan, right? You have nothing to do with Peter the Great. And the thing to remember about Peter the Great was that he was the one who brought European traditions and models and so forth to Russia, right? Without which, Russia would still have been Shitholistan throughout its entire history. So anyway, he's comparing his war in the Ukraine with Peter the Great's conquest of the Baltic coast.
What?
Hey, fucktard.
Yeah.
Peter the Great joined Europe and forged alliances with Europe, and you have cut those bonds, and they will never grow back as long as you live.
Now you have undone more than your own work.
15 years of economic growth in Russia undone by Pooty boys nonsense.
For one last hurrah for one
ridiculous.
sick old man.
Yep. So keep
Good job,
fucking
buddy.
around there, Pooty boy. But that's one of the things that should be held against Russia.
Yeah.
Right? And every time somebody talks about normalizing some fraction of relations with Russia, the answer should be, are you fucking kidding?
Why?
You can still see the battle scars in Ukraine.
Part of why I want us to put it over the fence in the January 6th hearings here, so we really can slap them around some for the... Because you did exactly what Russia would do if Russia hadn't learned anything from modern history.
Yes. If they were Shitholistan.
Yeah.
It's just the failure to learn the things. I don't care. It's
Yes.
You have to be able to adapt to the new thing.
You have to be modern humans. And they clearly are not. Fuck them.
Yeah, well, and understand where this takes them. Like, they have to be self-aware at that level of
Yeah.
that impulse for a strongman leader leads them to bad places, and they needed to have written a government
Right.
and enforced a government.
And so
that
we build a
actually-
goddamn wall around them.
Yeah.
We isolate them economically, politically, and physically forever.
Yeah.
And there are some well-educated Russians, and we take as many of those as we can trust.
Yeah.
And we leave them again. Shitholistan.
No, and again, I don't want you Russian people feeling like, how dare these Americans who are heading down, we're heading down the fucking same path as you. It's gonna fucking happen if we don't fucking stop it, and that's what we are trying to stop. So, we are right on
Let's
the edge
work
of
on
being
it.
you. So,
And if Russian
Wait,
citizens
wait,
want
wait.
if Russian citizens want a recommendation, it's pick up a rifle
Yeah.
and go change your government.
Yeah. And that's where we're headed as well.
Oh, and some
So,
rope. You're going to want some rope.
I don't want actual citizens who care to think that we're trying to be shitty to them. The actual citizens who care, guess what?
This is-
We are exactly you on the other side of the pond, feeling exactly the same way you're feeling right now. And if it came down to it, the three of us would pick up arms and defend our country. And I hope you will do the same. That's all I'm saying.
No,
All right.
America needs to work on its obsession with the cult of celebrity.
Exactly.
Russia needs to work on its obsession with the cult of strongmen.
Yep.
Well, and the cult of Putin specifically.
Yep.
And we need to work on our cult of Trump, and we are. So we'll see. We'll see how this all plays out. But I just wanted to send a little love to our Russian viewers.
Absolutely.
3 foreigners who fought for Ukraine sentenced to death.
This is probably the dumbest thing they've done yet.
What happened now?
So 2 British citizens
All right.
and a Moroccan were sentenced to death Thursday for fighting on Ukraine's side. It's a punishment handed down by the country's pro-Moscow rebels.
Now I understand.
Dear fucking shitholistanners,
Yep.
if you think England will ever forgive you for executing 2 of their
I'm
citizens,
not going to ask anyone
You-
to forgive you.
oh my
You're gonna
God.
ask limeys to stop
You
jumping
coulda
out of
had-
every fucking mud puddle, out of every toilet seat, because this is in Ukraine, right?
Mm-hmm.
See, Russia can execute some Britons, because you know why? There's not a lot for the British to fuck up in Russia without escalating this. But going into some rebelling republics or whatever,
Yeah.
Britain's allowed to do what she fucking wants.
Yep.
Well, and if Britain says, hey, they killed some of our whatevers, America, help.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying
No,
what's
but
gonna
this is the
happen.
kind of
I'm
thing.
not saying what's going to happen.
This was done on the Russians' watch in Ukraine.
Yeah.
Right? We used to talk about Londongrad, right? if you
do.
think
We
for a
talked about it
sing-
last night. Yeah.
If you
okay.
think for a single fucking second that the British will ever accept that again after you execute British citizens, you're drunker than you look, Pootie boy.
No, kind of the only dumber thing they could have done was execute American citizens. So
No, if they're not dumb. Have they executed them yet?
No.
Okay. If they're not dumb, Russia will reach out and get them, because this is how shit gets out of control.
Yep.
All right,
yeah.
get the fucking British out and see what happens.
Yep. Well, then they'll come in and denazify and demilitarize some folks.
I love that.
They'll
That
look
phrase
at
will
coherent
never get old.
networks and just cripple them. Or they'll do some superpower shit.
Right.
Well, and remember that Britain were the banks you were using.
Yeah.
So they can hurt you worse than you ever imagined being hurt.
Oh yeah.
First, they can plant all the money on you, so it looks like you stole a bunch of it, and then you get killed.
Fair. LNRB denies Amazon's ask to close union hearing to public.
So the National Labor Relations Board, Amazon went and requested that they bar the public from a hearing on the company's bid to overturn a union win at one of its Staten Island warehouses.
What? Are they allowed to fucking overturn that shit? That sounds like some bullshit. to me.
Well, they're typically held in person and they're open to the public. But the Seattle-based company filed a motion arguing the agency should make the hearing private because it will be held over Zoom. And Amazon argued that a Zoom meeting makes it difficult to know if witnesses who aren't supposed to observe the hearings are, Anyway,
All right.
The
Here's the
NLRB told Amazon to fuck itself.
Anonymous, get into the Zoom call. I mean, anyone can get into the Zoom. Zoom is so
Yep.
easy to hack into Zoom calls. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
So,
they got ruled against. It's good.
But of course, the whole point behind this has nothing to do with the Zoom call or
No,
witnesses.
of course
It's
not.
Amazon wanting
it's
to
everything with
hide
witnesses.
their anti-union attack.
Exactly.
And so anybody in America who's in a union might consider not buying anything from Amazon for the next 30 days.
Done.
Yeah,
I ordered all the
easy
shit I need
enough.
like the last 2 days.
Yeah, no. All right. So everybody join us on this 30-day no Amazon.
Oh,
You can
fuck.
do it. I believe in you. I believe in you.
We could do an economic shrug.
Yeah.
Megachurch leader sentenced for sex abuse. Wow, we
Really?
did a lot of these recently.
Is there any news?
No,
I mean, this
pretty
ain't
standard.
news.
We didn't talk
So
about
the
this a lot.
disgraced ex-leader of a Mexican megachurch was sentenced Wednesday in California to 17 years in prison,
Ha!
which is
Fucker.
not enough, but it's
No,
a good
that's
start,
enough, but yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So he pled guilty to 2 counts of forcible, anyway, involving minors and a lewd act on a child.
No, can I just say that the
He was charged with 23 felonies, and he pled guilty to 3.
how very little sex abusers get for jail time
Oh, yeah.
has
Yeah.
always been offensive to me.
Oh, yeah.
And again, I get it that like people who kill people should probably be in jail longer, but maybe we're not putting some of those people in jail for as long as they should be. All I'm saying is that sex offenders don't stop ever under any circumstances. You will let them out in 30 years, they'll fucking do it again. Sex abusers are fucking weird, but it gets weird because when you're talking about sex abuser, people who are abusive sexually, sometimes people get labeled as sex abusers when really they were like 18 and fucked a 17-year-old, and that's not okay. Like,
Yeah.
you should not be labeled as a sex offender for life for that type of shit.
This is the
so it gets
problem when we
weird.
try and
It gets
legislate
really
when we're
weird.
in our feelings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyway,
But I feel like real people who have abused, like if you're 40 and you've abused like a bunch of people under the age of 18, like more than one, maybe you should be in jail for longer than 15 years. I'm just a suggestion. So something to think about. Trans teen needed help from a hospital after a suicide attempt. Instead, they reported his parents. Oh, life. All right.
So on Wednesday, the American Civil Liberties Union and Lambda Legal filed a suit on behalf of 3 families challenging Texas Governor Greg Abbott's recent call for the State Department of Family and Protective Services to investigate parents who provide gender-affirming health care to transgender
God
kids.
forbid you help your child feel more comfortable in their own skin. It's such a terrible thing.
Yep, and to block the state from investigating members. So, lawsuit cites a particularly disturbing case where a transgender boy whose family was reported to the Department of Family and Protective Services by hospital staff after he was admitted for attempting suicide by taking a bottle of aspirin.
A whole bottle of aspirin.
Right.
Jesus.
And it turned out that his parents had legitimately had him on gender-affirming medication. So, anyway.
Did he say why he tried to kill himself? Could it have anything to do with new Texas laws by any chance?
It did. And
Oh, wonderful.
so he said the political environment, including Abbott's letter and being misgendered at school, led him to take the actions.
Fair.
So
So
when the
his
hospital
parents-
learned he'd been receiving hormone therapy, they reported his family to DFPS.
No, this is wonderful. His parents were trying to help him out, make him feel comfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and Governor Abbott decided to give him the finger and say, no, you're whatever we say you are. And end of discussion.
Tread carefully, Texas.
Fairly standard for the sex police here.
Yep.
So,
No, but if they screw this up, they could end up with a dead kid, which is the only way, right? At best, this is already liability beyond words
mm-hmm.
and can only get worse.
Yep. So anyway, we'll see if the ACLU can help.
Try and stay outside their pants with the levers of power.
Yep.
Gets weird and sticky in their
All right,
pants there.
I desperately need some good news. Tell me about BoomerRex's About Damn Time.
Oh, I love it.
Oh.
So, Ryan Kelley, he's pro-Trump candidate for governor of Michigan. Now, you have to remember the background. Michigan had several candidates for governor who used a fraudulent firm to collect their signatures and were thrown off the ballot. And the courts have declined to reinstate them on the ballot.
Oh, good.
So anyway, so here's this guy. He's a Trumpy candidate for governor in Michigan. He's been arrested by the FBI on charges related to the January 6th Capitol riots. So, Kelly's facing charges of knowingly entering a restricted building, disorderly or disruptive conduct, etc., etc., etc. He was arrested in his house when they arrived with a search warrant. So, I love it. You got it just. But in the past, he's encouraged his supporters to just unplug voting machines, right? If you see something you don't like happening. And on the grounds of the Capitol on January the 6th, he's running around shouting, "This is war, baby!" So, anyway.
Of course he was. Okay. Dumbass of the day. Who wins this one tonight?
Well, it's kind of
We all
a...
get dumber.
We all
Yeah.
lose.
This is a shared prize, right? Because these are Tucker Carlson talking points. What they are is Trump-pissy talking points, right? So we talked about these on the Monday show. But,
Tuesday show, but he talked about it on Monday. Yes.
oh, fine. Cool.
I just wanted to specify.
So, anyway, Republican Representative Louie Gohmert. Guys, anytime, he's so appropriately named. So this Gohmert from Texas, right? He said, if you're a Republican, you can't even lie to Congress or lie to the FBI or they're coming after you. Yeah. Fucktard. Those are both felonies. At what point does somebody explain to this imbecile? Right, I'm surprised.
You can't lie to these people. That's the whole point.
I guarantee you, this man can't walk and chew gum at the same time. Just dumb beyond words. And this was all, of course, in reference to Peter Navarro, who was indicted by a grand jury, not for lying to Congress, and not for lying to the FBI.
Well, for what then?
For refusing to testify and provide documents. Right, for which there was a court order. Oh, well.
Yeah, you got to do what the court says.
So, the good news is,
There's rules.
old Texas Gohmert, he's not running for re-election to his House seat. Instead, he thought he'd like to be Attorney General of Texas. In the May 3rd primary, he placed dead last out of 4 candidates.
Yeah, good.
Well done.
Good.
So, Texas is getting rid of the
Mike.
Texas Gohmert.
Oh my god.
Oh, Lord, you gotta. Oh, jeez.
No, it made me so happy when I saw this because I was like, fuck, we talked about this on Tuesday.
I know.
He is using word for word Tucker Carlson's
Yeah.
arguments for Peter Navarro, and it was hysterical.
Yeah.
So that's all he did. And again, what we spoke about on Tuesday was from Tucker Carlson. He did a 16-minute YouTube thing on Monday, and that's not his full show, but
Right.
it was a 16-minute clip that was shared on his fucking thing on YouTube.
Right.
Anyway. Big Tech Mountaining. Wait. Big Tech Mountaining? What?
Mounting.
Oh. Fuck, I wrote that weird. Big Tech mounting big money to defeat corporate antitrust bill.
This comes under the heading of, are you serious?
Yeah.
Right? You think this is news? I mean, for the love of God. So, anyway, this is the American Innovation and Choice Online Act is coming up against lots of negative media and spending blitzes ahead of a possible vote. Chuck Schumer has promised to vote on the legislation, noting the narrow window ahead of the August resource. It would, among other provisions, prevent major platforms like Amazon and Google from giving preferential treatment to their own products. Oh, wait, they'd never do that, would they?
No.
Oh,
Corporations are good and they care about the market.
right, right. And the free market will be sure everything. Oh, wait. The free market, yeah, the antitrust thing is to help establish the free market. Oh, so they're not really in favor of the free market,
All right.
right?
Well,
Oh my God, I'm so
it's a
shocked.
modified free market. Free market version 2.0.
Yeah, where Amazon and Google get to push their shit
Yeah,
in preference to other people's shit.
just a wee bit.
All right.
Oh my God.
Just
Some
enough
of
to cover the spread.
some of the dumbest moves Boomer Rex has ever seen.
Well, actually, this was from one of Alex Jones' lawyers talking about the
Jesus,
other lawyers.
fuck Alex Jones. No one likes you, Alex Jones. Dying fire.
So anyway, Alex Jones' legal problems. He's lost a couple of lawsuits, and then his bankruptcy folded, and so he may actually have to pay some of those lawsuits, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He's had just this endless loop of stupid attorneys representing him in court, and so now they're talking about how he should sue his attorneys for representing him badly. I just love it. Anyway, so more trouble for Alex Jones.
Yep.
And the Sandy Hook parents may actually get some money. So fuck him.
Well, their lawyers are interested if they do sue, because that'll be held as a corporate asset, and that
Yeah.
will be subject to the
Yeah.
financial penalties.
Yep. So anyway,
All right. Updates.
I hope he winds up under a fucking bridge.
Oh,
It
that'd
won't
be
happen,
amazing.
but that would be
Nah,
wonderful.
never happened. But you know what? It's lovely to think about. Let's take a moment to think about how lovely that would be. Okay, that was great. All right, updates with Boomer Rex Climate Weird. I can fucking talk. Shut up. Stop cooking it.
Remember what we said about counting? Anyway.
Hey, do you know what episode we're on, Mr. Counting?
173.
No, 153. Fuck you both.
That was close.
She keeps track of it.
I do, and you said I wouldn't.
You are
I can pull up the quotes, sir.
you are a good producer.
Thank you.
And you can go look on YouTube. So anyway,
I'll find it. Don't you worry. Give me time.
anyway, this one's great because this one's beginning to have some impacts. State regulators in California have ordered the city of San Francisco and scores of San Joaquin Valley farmers to stop pulling water from valley rivers.
I got a great idea. Let's start with everyone who owns an almond farm.
Yeah.
Fuck you. Almonds
So-
are terrible.
The curtailment order was issued by the State Water Resources Control Board. It affects San Francisco's ability to pull water from the Tulum River, one of its most important water sources. The others affected include Modesto and Turlock irrigation districts, which deliver water to farmers and residents in the northern San Joaquin Valley. So, all told, 212 public water systems are affected by the move. This may begin to wake some folks up about climate change.
It's hoping.
Yeah, you certainly could hope.
All right. So now on to the hearing that we watched this evening.
Cool.
I have a few discussion points that I would like to have with you all. First of all, I would like some impressions on the committee hearings. Age before beauty. Go ahead, sir.
I thought they did a superb job.
First impressions, sir.
Yeah.
And you, asshole?
Agreed. They didn't fall in the hole of discussing how they felt or anything else.
Yeah.
They kept it based on facts.
They kept it moving.
Yep. Saving up new material for this was
A
inspiring.
good idea. Yep.
Oh my god, I was super impressed with the video because I've watched hundreds of videos.
Yeah.
And you
different
don't get the
compilations
effect.
of them. And seeing the videos from the Capitol, the high
Mhm.
videos that were showing down, and you could see the people swarming in.
Yeah.
The way
Had
people
it-
pour through things.
Yeah, no, it had an effect on me that because I watched a lot of video. I was not expecting to be taken as much as I was by this video. It was very dramatic, and it was very scary.
Yep.
It brought me right back to the day and watching
that I was
it
surprised
live. Yeah. Okay. So, thoughts on how it was presented. So, it was presented in a very specific way. Now, what are your guys' thoughts on the good and bad, what they could have done better, or what you think they...
No, I think they did a good job pulling together, like going through the timeline with the quotes from the statements and so on. And I thought they did a superb job on the video, integrating the police calls.
Oh my God, that, so we were watching it, and I know all these scenes from different angles. So these angles that they had were, again, new and fucking dramatic.
Yeah, and really good. Like, that's the thing, is I'm surprised that they managed to not have these get leaked.
Yeah. No, I don't know how they kept this shit secret, but they did a brilliant job of it. But I'm watching it, and I'm hearing the radio calls, and I'm like, they timed up the videos with the radio calls, and my brain was just like, this is brilliant. This is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I was very impressed.
And at some point in the future, we'll talk about the false intelligence that was fed to the DC or to the Capitol Police.
Yep.
Right? Which is why they weren't ready for the Trumpissi to do their armed insurrection. So.
No, and I like the way they're breaking it down. So now let's open it up for a discussion on the best way that we feel they can continue with this solid start, because we all agree it was a pretty solid start. What do we feel is the best way they can hold this real solid start through to the next hearing on Monday?
The next three are during the daytime, and they're not going to be widely viewed. What they should do with those three is to present line for line the case for indictments against a number of people. And it should be things that any federal prosecutor could take in court, quote verbatim, and put up the same exhibits and get an indictment.
Right.
And then we should try some of these assholes, and then we should put them in jail for 30 years.
Right. Now, one of the best things that I personally felt like they did is before they started showing videos and stuff, they literally broke it up and said, in part one, we're going to do this. In part two, we're going to do that. In part three, we're going to show blah, 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 blah. And I love that, because now we know exactly what to expect in each section of this hearing, right, as we go forward.
That is brilliant, right? Pre-planning for everyone who's going to have to do this, right? Even us, we're going to be able to look at and go, okay.
Yeah.
Tonight, or this morning, they're going to talk about this. So tonight we will discuss whatever.
Yeah.
No, I was very impressed. And I think that anybody who watched this should have had, strong feelings.
Yeah.
And if they did not, then I can't. If you watched this and did not have strong feelings for what you were watching, or didn't say, "Holy shit, I thought this was a peaceful thing. Where was the peacefulness?" Because there was absolutely not a second of peacefulness, which is true, because that's not how it happened, no matter how much some of these Republicans want to push that point of view.
Yep.
So, I don't know. I feel like it was hard to watch this without having some amount of emotion for our country as a whole. And, I mean...
Stick with the court structure.
Well, and that's what they'll do, right, is that use those 3 daytime hearings to establish the provenance of all the critical evidence.
And use it to microperforate between Congress and DOJ.
Yep. And then, on their next evening one, which is the last one, that's your closing argument.
Yep.
Where you hold up each piece of evidence and talk about what it means.
Yep.
But you've already established the provenance. They're already in evidence.
And if DOJ fucks this up, zero their budget.
Yep.
No, I love how they kept pushing that there was absolutely no sign of, there being a problem with the election. I love that they just kept saying completely false, completely false, completely
absolutely.
false.
There was nobody on Trump's team who believes any of the shit they took to court.
No,
Right.
and it's interesting to hear, right, from Republicans to say, no, he lost.
Yeah.
Flat
I
out.
noticed Rudy Giuliani lost his law license. I love that.
What happens when you say crazy shit at a judge?
Yeah, absolutely. And of
Another
course, the
thing-
Dominion lawsuit is still live, so he may lose everything he owns.
Can I just say that I think it was a little bit brilliant of them to do it Thursday night prime time, right? Like fucking prime time.
Yep.
And then Friday off. So now all day Friday, what are people going to be talking about?
Water cooler.
All day Saturday, what are people going to? All day Sunday. This
Well,
is what people
what's
going to
be
talking
happening
about.
all day
Fuck that,
Friday,
take out the
Saturday,
trash,
and Sunday is that you're going to have Fox News going through and saying, "Oh no, none of this is real. It's all fake news. It's right." The standard
This
Fox
comma's in the
News,
wrong
Trumpisty
spot.
shit.
Okay. I have one thing that I have to say that I find amazing. You know how Fox News made a big deal about how they're not going to show it on their network? Guess where they did show it?
Where's that?
Fox News channel on YouTube.com.
Oh wow.
So YouTube, Fox News channel, did share live, and I checked it. It was a live stream, just like everybody else's live
Cool.
stream.
Yep.
And at the high point, they had 3.4K viewers, which was extremely low.
Yeah.
But not really. When I looked at all the other numbers, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most people were watching this on actual cable or live
Yeah,
on TV.
Absolutely.
At their local network. But for the YouTube users, the YouTube users were mainly trusting PBS News, which I found extremely interesting. And
Crap.
we're going to look into that a bit
I
more.
have
but-
such a good idea for Fox News, and I'm not going to talk about it until
All right,
after
we'll
the
talk about it.
Uh-huh.
closing arguments.
Fair.
Oh, that's even more fair. But no, I just wanted to kind of poke our toes in it, have a brief discussion about what our initial thoughts are. And tomorrow we'll obviously see what everybody else is
Yeah.
saying, and we'll discuss more tomorrow when we see how the world is taking this.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, heart, follow, review. Go to BoomerRexTonight, no spaces on Facebook for fun memes and a link to our Patreon. Give us $1. You can find us on YouTube as BoomerRex, or check your favorite podcasting service for BoomerRexTonight. We can be found on over a dozen different platforms, including Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, and Samsung Podcasts. And hit us up on Twitter at BoomerRexTonight. Don't forget, if you go to Google, you can Google BoomerRexTonight, no spaces. All links will lead you to us. We love you all, and we will see you
You know the
back here.
coolest thing about having an airship
What's that?
is you can pee out the window.
Fair.
See you back here tomorrow night on
This is why you can't play
BoomerRexTonight.
Death Stranding.